Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joe's Classic Video Games back with another cool pinball repair video for you this evening. We have been working on this Bally Strikes and Spares. This is the 5th video we've done on it. We've done several videos. We put a new MPU in this thing. We bought it off of a gentleman who had it out in his carport, so it had seen better days. We worked on the solenoid driver board, the power supply. We did a video where we painted a lot of the playfield to get it back looking good. I think it's turned out pretty nice. And the thing's about ready to go. But we need to work on the lights, the lamps, and we need to test play it and figure out what all it needs left. What all it's got left to work on. We need to clean it a little bit. But we've about got it. So first thing I'm going to do is we're going to figure out the lamps. Now, I haven't even replaced all of the bulbs yet. So underneath the playfield, usually we just replace all the lamps. We haven't done that, so it's still got whatever was in there whenever we bought it. But I can put it in lamp test here. There's a button inside the coin door on a Bally that just puts it in test. The very first test is a lamp test. So I did replace all of the bulbs in the back box. And that has actually got all of the, they call it switched illumination. All of it is working. The lights that come on that the computer can turn on and off. You'll notice on the pop bumpers, the two on the one on the left and the right do not blink. It says 100 points when lit. I need to see if that's original, because those never go off. Usually when it says when lit, it can have the ability to not be lit, right? But I know for a fact, because I replaced those pop bumpers, that those two lamps are tied to the general illumination. So they're not the switched illumination. You have the things like this light bulb here, it's always on. So that's called general illumination, right? And then you have the switched illumination, which is the ones that turn on and off. So the computer doesn't have to be involved with leaving those on all the time. They're just hot wired, basically, to a fuse. But the computer needs to be able to turn that one on and off depending on when it wants to. And all of the other ones, you know, that's kind of what we're used to on a pinball machine. So we've got several of them that aren't working, but that's probably just because the bulb needs replaced. Now, one thing you want to look for is a light that doesn't turn off, because that's also a problem, right? And the only ones we have are those two 100 when lit ones. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop up the playfield, and I'm just going to simply go through and change all the light bulbs. You can put LEDs in them if you want. I don't really like them. I'm not a LED guy. I like the real light bulbs. So I'm going to put real light bulbs in it. As of, this is April. As of April, they're still legal, but not for long. I don't. For pinball machines, maybe if we beg our overlords hard enough, maybe they'll let us keep our regular light bulbs that we like instead of having to get LEDs. But if you prefer the LEDs, go for it. It doesn't really hurt anything, and if I get your machine and don't like them, I can take them out and throw them in the trash. But yeah, we're going to put just small little incandescent bulbs back in it like they originally had. The original ones were 44 bulbs, is the part number of them. And we replaced them with 47 bulbs. I don't know if it's stamped on here or not. Let's see. There it is. See the 47? So a 47 bulb uses 40% less juice. So because of that, that lower amperage, it burns just slightly dimmer. But you get rid of, 40% of the heat. I don't know if that's all linear, but 40% of the heat, we suppose, and it uses 40% less amperage. So it is a compromise. I'm not putting the original 44s in there. Although if you wanted to, I wouldn't really have any problem with it. But a lot of the benefit of an LED bulb is that it doesn't use as much amperage, and it has almost no heat. So we're not putting the original ones. We're putting some that kind of trend that way, but they're not as energy efficient or temperature controlled, whatever, as a LED. The reason I don't put LEDs in them is very simple. I don't like the way they look. I just don't like the way it looks. I like the warm glow of the original incandescent bulbs. And no matter how orange your LED bulb is, it doesn't quite look quite the same. So I just like the old look. But I understand a lot of people, I would say it's probably 50%. We're about halvesies. About 50% of people like the old look, about 50% of people like the fake look. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and swap those out, and then we'll see if any of them still don't work after I do that. Okay, so I have swapped all the bulbs out. We've got the 9000's not working. The ABC 5000's not working. The ABC Special's not working. The 5X is not working. The 2X is working, it just doesn't look like it is. And then that's the number 8 pin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's how they number them in bowling. So I have written all of those down here. But there's one more thing messed up that's a little strange. The center pop bumper isn't turning all the way off, and it's flashing backwards from the other ones. You know, you can kind of see it. So there's something going on there too. So what I did was I went in the manual and I wrote down the pin connector of every one of those, and then also the transistor that controls that lamp. So I'm going to pull out the light board and we'll take a look at it and see if we can figure out what's going on. So here is the lamp driver board. Now I just went through and I checked Q41, Q39, Q59, Q7, Q53, Q13. With the diode test on my handy Fluke meter, and I can't find any of those that test bad. So they're either failing under load, or look at this connector. See how dirty all that is? Whenever I went to pull the connectors off, it went and barely came off. So I think it's probably just bad connections on these old tin leads. This side looks much better. I wish it looked a little better so I could show you what they're supposed to look like. But this will give you a good idea here. Look at this. See the oxidation, the corrosion. It's not really corrosion, but see the shiny spots and the not so shiny spots? So that's what's going on. This one looks pretty good. Go over to this side. And we'll talk about these ones in the middle here in a minute. See how bad that looks? They're all like... That's a problem. Okay, now yeah, look at these SCRs here. Silicon controlled rectifiers. Look how green they are. That's not really a problem, believe it or not. Most of them have that. And what that is from battery damage. So basically the board mounts up here, the one above it, and of course they're vertically in the back box, and there's a battery at the bottom. And so that thing leaks, literally leaks alkaline out of it, and it falls down the board and lands on stuff. I've heard it said too that it kind of outgasses, so it creates a gas. The alkaline creates a gas, and that's what some of the damage is too. This is not, it looks a lot worse than it is. So you've got this, and it cleans off. It's just like a powder almost on it. Right? So it looks really bad, but it's not actually inside the SCR. And they get real green, which is kind of just some corrosion of that copper or brass or whatever that is on the outside of it there. But this is really common. If the legs are starting to get really corroded, you know, you'll start seeing that SCR needs to be replaced. Let me see if I can get you the part number of it. Or if it's a Motorola. You know, Motorola did weird part numbers where you can't tell. Okay, so cleaning those seems to have brought them all back. The pop bumper one I did change. I've seen that before. If it goes back, if it's backwards from the other ones and it's just going dim and bright, it's the SCR is screwed up. So replacing that fixed it. The back box, they're all working except for that one bulb which is going to be a bad connection. Now, how did I know that was going to be a bad connection? It's because both of those bulbs run off the same SCR, so it can't be a board problem if one of them's working. It's just a bad connection at the socket. Okay, so we'll keep our eyes on that. And here's the green one, to prove it. We'll keep our eyes on the lights to see if they start acting up. I know all of you like to tell me whenever one of the bulbs doesn't work, so I'm sure you'll let me know. Okay, but the next thing we want to do is check the switches and the coils. Now, the only thing with the coil that seems interesting is they put duct tape on the chimes. I guess trying to make them quieter or something. So I'm going to put it in coil test next. And did I say that right? I am going to put it in the coil test next, and we'll see if the coils all seem to fire, and if the chimes sound good, or if they need to have their duct tape removed. Oh, display test was next. Ooh, good thing we did that. There's some displays messed up. Interesting. Interesting. So this one has a digit missing. This one has 2 digits missing, but it's actually it's the ball and the play and the match. So it doesn't use all the digits. I think it uses the 2nd, the 3rd, the 5th, and the 6th. But our 2nd and our 3rd are missing. But it could be that they put that display there because they knew it was damaged. But we should be able to fix that. That one's good, that one's good, and that one's good. We went through, Joey went through and resoldered the connections on these displays, but we've got 2 of them here that need a little work. So we'll do that next. Let me pull out this bottom one. We're going to look at the 4th digit, which would technically be the hundreds digit. Okay, so the most common failure that these Bally displays get is if an entire digit goes missing. That's fixable. You have a problem, I better knock on particle board. You usually have a problem where it affects all of the display. If you've got a segment missing, that's a lot of times that can actually be the glass. If a digit's missing, it isn't usually the glass. The reason that's important is because the glass cannot really be replaced anymore. They don't make them anymore. So it's just an old school plasma glass. I've had a lot of people comment on the videos and say it's a vacuum fluorescent glass. I don't believe it is. I don't think it's a VFD. VFDs look different and they run on lower voltages usually. This is running on 190 volts. So this is plasma. This is like, I don't think this is a vacuum fluorescent. Okay, so the way that it works is a signal comes in to each one of these pins, or to some of these pins, to enable each digit. So you could have a situation where it's the connector. It looks pretty good. Then it comes through these little resistors. Now, I've just got it kind of memorized because I've worked on them a million times. You've got R1, R3, R5. Those are 100K, maybe 100 ohm or 100K ohm, or 10K ohm. I don't know how we'll ever know, but we'll figure it out. Those resistors slap the crap up. It's the odd numbered ones at the beginning. So R1, R3, R5, and also 7, 9, and 11, which will be here somewhere. There we go. 7, 9, 11. And the way it works is we're looking at the back of the display, but R1, R3, R5, R7, R9, 11. So the signal or whatever comes through here, through the resistor, and then the next thing it does is it goes to these little transistors, and they're also in order. So the first segment is this one, the first digit. The second digit is this one. The third digit is this one. Now, this third digit, that's the one we're having a problem with. Okay. These 7 and this chip control the segments because there's 7 segments. Right? A bottom one, a top one, 2, 2, and then one in the middle. So there's 7 segments in the famous, LED 8. So we're not concerned with these or this chip right now. That doesn't have anything to do with it because it's doing the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 thing that it's supposed to do in the test. It's just that one digit's completely missing. So the signal comes in, goes to this resistor, and then to its appropriate transistor, which is this third one, and then it has a sister transistor up here. That's right, I said a transistor sister. So you see it's the same way. Digit 1, digit 2, digit 3, 4, 5, and 6. There's also resistors that are involved and all of that. And then the actual glass itself connects to the board. And certain pins control the digit being enabled. Now, you see, it don't look great. That could probably stand to be resoldered. If any of those are broken loose, like doesn't that one look broke loose? If those are broken loose just from the glass flexing, it will absolutely cause you to lose a digit or a segment or something. But this is real typical. They usually look like this, and it's usually just how it left the factory, and it's not actually broken solder. It just looks like it is. So if you feel confident in resoldering it, you can. So you got to look at that. And as you can see on the bottom here, I don't know that anything has ever been replaced on here. So this is just a completely untouched board, except for the connector that Joey probably resoldered earlier today. Now you could have bad solder on the connector here too. So I think I probably got it wrong. It probably runs through these first and then the resistor or something. But this third resistor, this third transistor, there's 1, there's 2, there's 3. I'm trying to tell from the back where it all starts. How is it getting its juice? 2, 3. It is running from, oh, that's probably the output. Okay, those are the same, so it's right there. Here we go. So there is the one leg of the transistor. There's the other 2 legs. It comes down. This resistor connects to that pin. So if that pin were to have bad solder, it may not connect too. But it looks fine to me. Okay, so I'll test the resistors, and then I'll test the 2 transistors and see if I can find anything that seems out of spec. Now, if you're testing the transistors, you can just compare it to the one next to it, because there's 6 of them, and they're identical circuits. Right? So I'm going to use my Fluke multimeter here. Everybody complains how dirty my Fluke multimeter is. Come on, people. And I left it on, it looks like. It's not that big of a deal, people. So somebody sent me this one. This is a bad M or F-er right here. This thing's awesome. Look at this thing. Boy, I like it a lot. They know me so well. Made in America, back in the day. It don't work, though. So I pulled out one I had. This old Fluke one here. Now, the Keithley, I believe, is about as good as the Fluke, because it's old. So I pulled this one out, and guess what? It don't work either. So I'm going to have to fix some multimeters here eventually if I can figure it out. This one had the legs broke off too. There's one missing and 2 other ones broke in shipment, but I glued them back, and the glue seems to be holding well. See it here? So it's got the wrong handle on it. So it's a 175, but it's actually a 179. It must have been a parts machine or something. But that's pretty cool. So eventually I'm going to try to fix that. But I'm going to use my regular one for now. So I'll see what I can find on it, and we'll go from there. All right, folks, so we're going to check it. So we've got our 3 resistors here. You might actually even be able to see me do it. So R1 is the single digit, the first one, right? So if I check that resistor, I've got 107.4K. It sounds like a oldies channel on the radio. You're listening to 107.4 Oldies America. Okay, so that one's fine. It's a little high. It's supposed to be 100K. It's 107K, but that's within 10%. Come on, folks. It's within 10%. Does it have a silver? I think it's gold, which was probably supposed to be 5%, but it'll be all right. Don't worry about it. Let me see. Is gold? I got a little cheat sheet. Is gold 5%? Or where's my cheat sheet? Gold is 5%, so it should be 105, but it's 107. But it's not super critical, all right? It's just you don't want it to be 180K. R3 is 105, so that's 5% off. That's still within spec, basically. Okay, so that's the ones digit and the tens digit. Our problem is the hundreds digit, which is, ironically enough, R5. The next one. As sure as you are born, it is burnt slap the crap up. Completely open. Okay, now this is a good little learning experience. So here's the resistors, R1, R3, and R5. R5 is the one at the bottom that is tested bad. Can you tell that it's bad just by looking at it? Not really. It looks just like the other ones. So, you know, people talk about, oh, the resistor burnt up. And sometimes they do look burnt. They look all smoked up, and it's obvious what the problem is. But not this one. This one died a peaceful death. You can't even tell. And it's so open now that no amperage at all is going to go through it, so it's not going to get any worse. It's just going to look like that forever and ever. Amen. So we're going to swap that out. Now, you could make the argument that if one of them died, the other ones may die, right? And just swap all 6 of them. Also, it might be a good idea to put half-watt resistors in instead of leaving the little quarter-watt resistors in. Go a little beefier with it. So you can decide that on your own. If you're working on your own machine, it's probably a good idea, because whenever you'll have to order these resistors, and whenever you order them, they'll be like 3 cents each or 2 cents each or something. And you might as well just swap all of them if you're going to take the time to do it. So I'm going to swap that one at least. I'll check the other ones too. I might just go swap all of them. Sometimes they burn up because one of these transistors is shorted, but not usually. Usually it's just literally the resistor's bad. So that's like the most common problem with Bally displays. Okay, so that fixed it, and then the other one was 2 other resistors on that one. So new resistors, all the digits are back. So that's the best problem you can have on these. If you get one and it's got missing digits, you're probably all right. Like I said, it could possibly be the glass, but not usually. Okay, so now we're going to go to the switch test. I really want to do the switch test. Oh, solenoid. Okay, 5 is a problem. Okay, did you hear the ching ching? It's the coil right here. And then after that, it's going ding dong in the back. It's the flipper relay. It's like a musical. You can hear it, right? There's a rhythm to it. It goes ding dong. Okay, so 5 is a little bit of a problem. We'll figure that out. Here is our switch test. Okay, this is what I wanted to see. On these Bally's, they have these little capacitors on some of the switches, and those capacitors short. And whenever it does, you'll get something like this, where there's a number just stuck on. That's because the capacitor on the switch is shorted, but this one doesn't have any like that. So we don't have any shorted caps. We may have some missing caps. They put caps on the ones that need to respond really fast. So usually stand-up targets like this will have one because you could hit it so quick with the flipper that it just barely hits it, so they put a cap on it to widen the pulse out a little bit. So that to make sure that the CPU sees that switch got hit. If you don't have the cap on one that needs to have the cap on it, it'll still work, but it won't always work. Because if you do hit it really fast, the CPU may not see it. So yeah, so we're going to go through and just check all the switches. This is an interesting game because it doesn't have any drop targets. Most of the Bally's back then kind of did. This game kind of revolves around all of these rollover switches on the bowling pins. I believe, although I'm not positive, but I think they had the same thing going on in Harlem Globetrotters, I believe. But let's see if we've got any that don't work. So that's the right out lane, right in lane, left in lane, left out lane, bottom stand up, next one, next one, next one, left stand up, the spinner. Ooh, the spinner looks nice. Very cool. And so the test on a Bally is just awesome. I mean, it will really tell you some stuff. Right pop, middle pop, left pop. And it didn't even bite my finger. Okay, so the only thing left really is this saucer, which probably will bite my finger. I can't really get to it. We'll assume that works. You know what happens when you assume. Okay, we'll start at the beginning. Pin 1. Nada. It's not uncommon for these things to be misadjusted. It's got to be pretty close or they don't work right. Okay. Pin 1. Pin 2. Pin 3. Pin 4. Pin 5. Pin 6. Pin 7, pin 8, pin 9, pin 10. Okay, so pin 1 is the only one that is not working. All right, so all of the switches seem to work except for pin 1. Let me show you how you can figure out which ones need to have the capacitor. Okay, so somewhere in the manual they will show the switch matrix, which just shows, since it's a matrix, you know, you've got strobes and returns, but basically it's going to show you the wires that run to each switch, and it just shows a cap on a lot of them. And unfortunately for me, there's a cap on every freaking rollover. So all of the pins are the rollovers, and then C on the top right, B top middle, A top left, the 500 side target, all of the pins, the E target, the R target, the A target, the P target, the left pop bumper, the bottom bumper. So basically the only thing that doesn't have them is the spinner, the out lanes, the in lanes, and the slingshots. Oh, and the 10-point rebound rubbers and the 50-point rebound rubbers. So they should be basically all over the playfield. So let's go see how many of them have been cut off by operators over the years because they shorted. Well, first of all, I'd like to apologize to all of the operators out there. I mean, I know I shouldn't have said that. How was I to know that the operator on this machine had never cut off any of the capacitors that the machine needs to score properly? I didn't know, people. I just assumed that the operators had cut off the caps. I did not know. I shouldn't have just lumped all the operators into one category like that. So I apologize to all of the operators who aren't crooked. But people criticize operators for stuff like that a lot, but it's not really how it seems. These are 0.05 microfarad capacitors hanging off the side of these switches. And so you get out on location, and one of the switches is stuck on, and the thing's just sitting there going, scoring thousands of points, and the game won't work. And then the guy figures out it's because this little cap is shorted, and so he breaks the thing off because he doesn't have a 0.05 microfarad capacitor to put on there. Oh, I said it wrong. I mispronunciated it. It's a 0.05 microfarad capacitor to put on there. And so he figures out that if he breaks it off, it's not shorted anymore. And when you hit the switch, it still works. Right? So the operators get all kinds of criticism for stuff like that, but really they're just trying to keep the game up and running. The proper way to do it would be put the cap on it, but what if you don't have the cap? So you just take this switch here that's good for rapid fire. You could just barely hit it and it'll register, right? And then you just make it more like this switch, which the ball has to be on the contact just a slight little bit longer for the machine to register it. So I don't blame them. But yeah, every one of them's still on this one, so no operators have hacked up the capacitors. They're all still there, and none of them have shorted yet. Of course, they'll short now that I've brought it up and started bragging on it. Okay. So, and this one, the top rollover, it was just a little bit dirty. So it is fine now. So all of our switches appear to be working. I didn't check the kickers. Let me check the kickers. Oh, Mr. Kicker, please don't kick on me. Okay, it didn't. Oh, Mr. Kicker, I can't even see over on that side. Please don't kick on me. Okay, it didn't. I don't like it when they kick on me. Oh, and the out hole. I didn't check that one. All the switches work, people. Oh, I can check this one from down here. That's almost like cheating. They all work. So this thing, if you didn't see the first video, it was covered in spiders. Somebody had kept it out in their shed and everything. But everything seems pretty cool. We've got that one chime that doesn't work right. Let's figure out which one it is. I'm going back to the chime medley, people. You'll be all right. I got to go all the way through the test menu. We're going back to the chime medley. Okay, it's going to reboot. And then we're going to go back into test. It's kind of working. But they've got it. I think that I'm going to guess that it's that one in the middle, that it's held down so tight with that duct tape that it can't vibrate very well. Okay, so we're in light test. We are in display test. Now here's the it's number 5. 1, 2. Yeah, it's the middle one. Yeah, the duct tape's screwing us up. I'm just going to peel it off. I mean, we don't need that. I was going to always peel it off, but it's just interesting to me why anybody would do that. I guess they were just trying to quiet it down. That's the little tune we're all used to. Okay, so we've got to clean it up a little more, but we're pretty much ready to test play it. We're going to play it a little bit, but I would be remiss if I didn't show you the beautiful backglass of Bally's Strikes and Spares. One of the greatest pinball backglasses of all time. Now, the Gottlieb backglasses from the 60s are probably the best. But The Bally ones from this era are amazing. If you're a person who's intolerant, you might not want to watch this part of the video. I didn't do it, folks. Okay, so just look how beautifully this thing's done. And notice the glow. You know what I mean? Look at this. And so on the back of the glass, they have a mask layer that creates the area that light can't come through, that light won't shine through. And they use that so that they can light up things like that. So the masking is missing in an area that says high game to date. With the lights on, you can't even see it. But then in the dark, of course, it can illuminate really easily. So you get the point. Look how behind the girl, they've done this little sunburst thing. Right? With the mask layer, just to have that glow a certain way, right? And, you know, it gave me a bunch of trouble trying to do that on the playfield where it was damaged, all those lines. And the lines, you know, kind of remind me at least of the lane of the bowling alley. You know, and of course, their part here in the middle, they've put the pins on that because it looks like the bowling alley. So it's just interesting how they chose that to stylize it that way, right? And then that sunburst, of course, draws you even more to the girl in the middle. She looks like somebody, but I don't know. I don't think I know that woman. It's just cool. This kind of transcends comic book art. This is just pinball art, really, right? Of course, the girl even has her earrings on, and they are little bowling pin earrings. Right? The artist has actually signed the glass, like we mentioned before. Up here, you have like a scorecard. It's kind of illegible. I can see a 3, and then that looks like a 7 and a 9. But that's not really possible, is it? And then over on the other side, there is the artist's signature. Okay. Oh, and you can also get you some plasma, people. Get you some plasma. What else can I notice about it? In the corners, they have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 bowling pins. They're kind of arranged similar to how they're arranged on the, you know, on an actual bowling alley. The 2 balls on the bottom are orange, and the 2 on the top are blue. I don't know why, but that's what they decided to do. So the 1 up and the 2 up are up here where the scorecards are. And if you remember at a bowling alley, I don't know how long it's been since you went, but the scoring things are up at the top. That's where you look kind of to see the scoring. I don't know. I guess they were probably already digital by '78 in most of the bowling alleys. I've been in some bowling alleys where they're still from 1978. Those are the good ones. And then down here on the bottom, instead of that, they put a bunch of pins, just a bunch of them, to create this little idea here. And then the same behind where it says 4 up, and the same behind where it says 3 up. Let's check out the chick's shoes. She's, of course, wearing cheap bowling shoes. What else would you wear at the bowling alley? And there is a bowling ball here that's one of those ones with like the swirls in it and stuff. And then there's a few drawn behind just for good measure. This is cool because it's a nearly flawless version of this original Backglass. It's not a reproduction. And then, of course, she's holding a bowling ball that says Bally on it. And she's dressed rather nicely for a night out bowling. Right? It's just a great character for a Backglass. So, of course, she dominates the Backglass. But if you look around, there's a couple other interesting things going on. So if we look here, you can see the whole lane, and you can see that some of the pin setters are picking up pins. Now, you know, the artist, this is his world, so he gets to put whatever he wants in there. And they frequently tried to get away with things. So there's where somebody's actually hitting the pins. There's one where the gate's down, the bar's down, or whatever they call it. So that's all the way across. Okay, and then the only other thing really of the lane is you have a rack of bowling balls here, red, blue, and black. And then you can kind of see one of the machines here. Oh, you know what? That looks like maybe it's a projector. So maybe you do it by hand, and then the maybe there's a camera there that's projecting it up to the top. I think that's how they used to work. I haven't been bowling in a long time. Okay, so there are several characters here on the Backglass. There's a few people over here just kind of standing around, and they're just silhouettes. There's a couple people here standing around. And then there's a few people over here standing around. And so you've got a guy here bowling in a tight t-shirt. Should have left him off the glass, in my opinion. I don't think that, you don't need that. I don't know what they're trying to do to us. Okay, and then you have a girl here looking just like 1978. And then a girl here right? And then you have this little thing here. This girl is oblivious. She doesn't see what's going on. She's dragging her boyfriend off. She's very healthy. She has her bowling bag there. They're getting ready to leave. She's got the cheap bowling shoes on too. And he's got his bowling he's got his bowling bag as well. And he seems to be preoccupied, staring at the girl. And then last but not least, you have this little scene over here, which is very standard on Ballys of this age. This guy sees something he likes. He seems completely oblivious to what's going on. He doesn't notice what's happening right beside him. So he's trying to pour a drink, and he's missing the glass. He's pouring it on the table. The beer is dripping on his girlfriend, and she's not very happy about it. So, fantastic Backglass. In my opinion, easily one of the top 5 Backglasses of all time. Easily. You could argue the best Backglass ever. There's other ones I think that are a little better, but it's a 10 out of a 10. There's other 10s, but this is one of them. Okay, so that artist's name is Kevin O'Connor, and he's kind of an interesting guy in the history of pinball because of what I'm about to tell you. A lot of times when we're talking about these guys and these girls that did this stuff back in the day, we're talking about, oh, look what they did back in the 70s. But with this guy, yeah, look what he did back in the 70s. He did this great Backglass. He did the Kiss Backglass. Now, I've heard that the Kiss Backglass is kind of a takeoff of some other stuff Kiss had already done. So he may have not came up with all that artwork, but he may have. I'm not sure about that. But I think I heard somebody tell me that that's actually just something they had on one of their album covers or something, and it's just kind of a recreation of it or something. But either way, it's great. He did the Star Trek Backglass, the original one. I got lots of people love that Backglass. He did the Medusa Backglass, the one that we had, what, a year ago or so. That was a great Backglass. Yeah, so there were a few more. Oh, he did Supersonic, which it doesn't have people on it. It's just a big jet, but that's one of my favorite of the Bally games. And then here's why he's different. He ended up working for Data East. So when he would have been working at Data East, he would have been working with Gary Stern, who was, head of the pinball division there. And he did like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles pinball machine. He did the Simpsons pinball machine. Rocky and Bullwinkle. A bunch of that stuff. So the stuff that was kind of cartoon-ish, he did all of that. And then when Stern started the new Stern Pinball, Kevin O'Connor kept working with him. So he's done, like he did the X-Men game. He did, I think, the Harley Davidson stuff. So then they made a new Kiss pinball machine, and they got Kevin O'Connor to do the new Kiss pinball machine. So he did the old one and the new one. He did. So if you're wondering if he's still working, he did the James Bond one that just came out. So the game that came out 3 months ago, this same artist did the art on that. There's your difference. The dude is still making the stuff. He's basically like the current game is his art. So what a hell of a career, right? I hope he was well paid. I hope that doesn't mess Stern up that I'm saying that. I mean, I'll probably get 4,000 people watching this video eventually. So that's probably not enough to change anything, but I hope the guy's getting paid well. That's all I'm saying. He might respond to the video. He's probably still a strong pinball guy. He might see that somebody did a video on his fantastic strikes and spares. Now, he didn't design the layout or the playfield or the gameplay or anything. He's just doing the art. So, love it. Absolutely love it. I've always loved the older machines, too, where they do geometric stuff. I like that. So the lines and all of that, the perspective stuff, I like all that stuff. Cool with me. So we're going to play it a little bit. Now, I have hidden, accidentally, an error in this game. Something's not quite right. See if you can, I don't think I showed enough on the previous game, or on the previous video where you can tell, but see if you can tell find the problem, and then tell what must be the issue and what needs to be done to fix it. What do you think about that? So we're going to play it a little bit. Look for the problem. Ooh. Oh, wait, we didn't read the instructions. We'll go back. We'll go back. Did I get them all? I think I got all the rollovers. I want to rip that spinner. We're going to play 3 balls, and then we'll talk about the problem. Well, this thing plays itself. I see a couple other little minor things, but there's one major problem. Okay, I'm sure most of you caught the problem. Are you ready? Have you put your comments below? Pause the video and put your comments below so that you can prove to everybody that you knew the problem. When you hit this pop bumper fires. And when you hit this pop bumper fires. So you get this issue where you hit the bumper and the ball just kind of dribbles off of it because it didn't fire to kick it off of it. It's not popping. The wrong pop bumper is popping. How in the world did I mess that up? Well, when I took these apart, I had to replace the bodies and the skirts of these because they were all worn out. So when I took them apart on the bottom of the playfield, there were two of them, these two, that you could put either way. So I put it the way it kind of looked like it went, but I put it backwards. So I'll show you under the playfield because we got to swap it back. You can see how just that one little thing can really screw up the gameplay. It's not as fun because half the pop bumpers aren't doing anything. So it slows the whole top of the playfield down. Basically, I just need to swap those two back. I saw a couple other things too. One of the chimes is making me wonder a little bit, and one of the stand-up targets over here doesn't seem to be hitting every time. Might have a couple light bulbs that are a little tricky. But basically, the pop bumper is the main thing. So let me show you what I'm talking about, and you can see how easy it is to screw this stuff up. So when I took these apart, I took these three coil brackets off and just had them hanging. Of course, turned off. We're turned on right now. So that one obviously goes back over there. But these two, they can go either way, really. So I have this one up here. See the two sets of wires that were into it? I didn't take the wires loose. I just unscrewed the nuts and swapped it over, right? And this one, I thought this one went over here because the wire comes off lower on this loom. So I thought, well, it must be the lower one. So this one apparently goes up there, and this one goes up there. The ball rolls up on the skirt, hits that switch, and makes the bumper pull in. So when you hit this switch, it's making this one pull in, so it should be here, and vice versa. So easy peasy, we can swap that. All right, so I got them swapped around. Now you could have done it the lazy way and changed just the wire. Just the one wire is the only thing that's different, but I don't do that, people. You could have even done it the worst way and changed the wire where it plugs into the solenoid driver board, but then it would permanently be wrong. That'd be horrible. And in the manual, it tells you what colored wire. So you're not supposed. Come on, people. You're not supposed to do that. Come on now. Okay, so I think we've got it better. I checked the chimes. They're fine. I checked the stand-up target. It's fine. So I'm sure you folks will see a lot more wrong with it, but that was the main thing that was wrong with it from my point of view. Oh, let me read you the instructions. Everybody likes it when we do that. If you read the instructions, then you know what to do. It makes the game more fun. Making A, B, C. So A, B, and C are the top three rollovers. I would love to see a game where it was A, B, C, but no, it's always A, B, C. The first time lights the 2X and the center bumper. You thought the center bumper bulb was burnt out, didn't you? Wrong. So 2X would be here. That's whenever you get the bonus, it's going to give you twice the bonus. The second time you make ABC, it lights 3X. The third time you make ABC, it lights 5X. The fourth time scores an extra ball or 50,000 points. Okay, so with well-placed spinner shots to where you get back up to the top, once you go through those, you're going to get 2x, 3x, 5x, and then an extra ball. That's the way to go, people. This is the way. Okay, if you make spare, which is the five stand-up targets on the right. This game doesn't have any drop targets. The first time you make spare, it lights the return lanes for an extra ball or 20,000 points. So again, if you get them 5 stand-ups, just one time, it's going to light up extra ball here on the in lanes. The second time, it lights the out lanes for extra ball or 50,000 points. Say what? Out lanes for extra ball or 50,000 points. This must be the card. Yeah. So this card is supposing that your game is set up to give you an extra ball when you win the special. You could also set it up where the special is a free game. The third time that you make spare over on the right, it scores an extra ball or 50,000 points. Holy crap. Maximum 1 extra ball per ball in play, however. So don't get cray-cray with it. It ain't going to work. You want to go after the points after you get the extra ball. I guess if you were really good, of course I wouldn't know anything about that because I'm not, but if you were really good, you could play until you got the extra ball scored, and then just go for points from there. Making a strike advances and scores the strike value. Holy moly! I just figured out that you can actually make a strike by getting all of the pins down. And this game, it doesn't have any drop targets like I mentioned, but that's because they added an extra 10 rollovers right in the middle of the playfield. So, lots of stuff there. I've had several people email me about those rollovers on various games. Just last week, a guy emailed me. The week before that, a guy emailed me about a completely different game. And basically always asking the same question: where can I get this part? Where can I get this part? That's called a star rollover, and it's still available from all of the parts places because it's even used on modern games. So you're looking for a star rollover. You can buy just the insert, which is the little white plastic piece. That's the actual button, or you can buy the actual housing, which is the part that the light shines through. The housing, it's glued into the playfield, and it usually has paint silkscreened on it. So if you replace that, you're going to lose the paint directly around the insert because it's actually on the insert. But it can be done. Strike special scores an extra ball or 50,000 points. And the tilt penalty is the ball in play. They say that because originally the tilt penalty was the entire game. All right, so we are on ball 1. Let's see what kind of score I can get. Look at those. Look at that pop bumper working right. The one on the left, it hit it and it didn't pop, but we're going to go with that was a fluke. We're just testing it, people. There you go. See, it's a fluke. I can't completely get rid of flukes. So if I can get C, I was trying to, but I missed it. Much better. That's what we like to see. Okay, so we want to try to make lots of spinner shots. We got an incredible 41,000 points that time. Look, we're just testing it, people. This ain't no, it's not life or death, people. Come on, people. You're supposed to have fun with it. Oh, Lordy. Whew, they're taking my quarter. Missed it. I got so close and then I missed it. I want to rip the spinner. Let's rip the spinner. Oh yeah. There we go. Missed it. Missed it. I have yet to get 2x. I have to get A, B, and C to get 2x, which means I kind of need to go through the spinner. I have yet to see the pops knock it up through the lanes either, because they're a little too high. So the pops on most games, on a lot of these games, oh, Christmas tree. The pops on a lot of these games, there we go. That lit our extra ball. Ooh, about lost it. So both end lanes have the extra ball lit. Come on. Interesting. It's laid out. Just little minor things are very well thought out. Okay, 76,000. Okay, so you see how steep the end lanes are. Well, because of that, that's how most modern games are, but because of that and the way that the ball's working on these older games, it's harder to... Whenever I play, a lot of times I'll try to catch the ball and it will roll up the end lane, and so it'll give you this score, right? Which if I could have done that just now, and it kind of just comes down to how you play, like I just do it that way a lot. If I would have done that just now, it would have gave me my extra ball that I needed. But on this game, since they're so steep, that doesn't happen much, right? And what I was trying to say about these is you've got the A, B, C lanes up at the top. Are they calling it the rollover? They're not calling it anything. Those 3 lanes at the top, the rollover lanes. On a lot of games, A, B, C, or whatever, however it is, the pop bumpers will hit the ball and knock it back up through it. So you'll come down through it once, hit a pop bumper, bounce back up through it, and then go back down through another one again or something, you know. So it makes it where you score it a lot more. But not on this one, because the pop bumpers are down just a little bit farther to where that doesn't really happen. So we'll keep watching and see if that ever happens. I got 76,000 points. Boy, I'm burning it up. They threw it right past me, people. There we go. It did do it, finally. Well, I got my 2x that I wanted, and then they took it from me. You see what they did, people? You see how they did me? Well, that was drastic. See? All right, we got 53,000. I'm reversing. Okay, we're going to try it one more time. It's been a long video. I've been having fun. I hope you have. It didn't get enough of it, people. Not bad. I got 38,850 on ball one. That's not bad. Well, for me, it's not. Anybody that's good at it's going, are you kidding me? That's bad. That's very bad. Oh, man. Straight into out lane. All right, we get 2 comments on the videos over and over again. So I'm going to point out to you the comments that we get on the videos. It's always the same 2 comments. So one of the comments will be, there's a line out. I noticed you fixed the entire thing from somebody's carport. You got it completely running again. But I see a light bulb, and I know how to change those, so I'm going to point that out to you. I would have changed that light bulb. So that's the comment we always get. And then the other comment we always get is, I don't like it. The ball goes right down the middle. Oh, God, it goes right down the middle. And then you'll get that guy's brother going, seems like it goes out the left a lot. And then you'll get that guy's brother saying, seems like it goes out the right a lot. People, it's a pinball machine. There's a hole, and a hole. That's kind of the point. That's kind of how it's supposed to work. So yes, I see the light bulb. Yes, the ball goes down here. It also goes down there, and it goes down there. We're off to the races. You're supposed to have fun with them, people. If one of the light bulbs is twinkling a little bit, it's going to be okay. Got that lucky bounce that first time. All right, 42,620. I'm getting slightly better. That was ball one. The pinball gods giveth, and the pinball gods taketh away. I finally got my extra ball that I wanted to get, just in the nick of time, too. I'm not hitting much, people. Come on now. Come on now. Let's beat up the banks. Oh. I am the king of everybody in this building. That's right. I'm the best player in the building. Look at this. I got a whole 138,000. Well, I see I'm the only one here again. Well, I guess that's a small victory. Okay, 138,000. That's the best I can do on this one. So somebody else is going to have to really polish up to beat that. So leave your comments down below, even if you want to complain about a light bulb. We love reading them. We laugh about it. We go, look, hey, it's the light bulb guy again. And then Joe goes, that's not the light bulb guy. The light bulb's guy's name was Chris. And I was like, oh, we've got a new light bulb guy. So leave your comments below. Let me know what you think. You know what my favorite comments are? Not necessarily the ones telling me how great I am. I don't need you to tell me how great I am. The ones that I really like are the ones that say, it was 1978. I was driving in my Vega. We went down to Paw Paw's bowling alley, and they had just drugged this thing in. And I remember thinking, now why would they put a bowling game inside of a bowling alley? That doesn't make any sense. But then I tried to play it, and I put a quarter in. And old man Paw Paw, you know, he could tell I was a little bit drunk, and he kept looking at me. And after I started playing it a little bit, he came over and kicked me out because I was doing too good on the game, and yeah, I was getting a little raucous because I'd been drinking Budweiser. Those are my favorite comments. So if you remember playing this thing from back in the day, make sure to tell us your story down below. We love that. So I hope you enjoyed it. Leave whatever comments you want down below. Make sure to give us a thumbs up for taking the trouble to film it for you, and we will see you on the next video. Folks, don't forget to check out my brother Donnie. My brother and I have just started rehabilitating a mobile home over on his channel that we bought that this guy had turned into a convenience store. Let me back up and say that one more time. My brother and I have just started rehabilitating a mobile home that some dude bought and turned into a convenience store. We're taking it back. So go check that out on his channel. The link is down below, my brother Donnie, and we will see you on the next video. I hope you love this Strikes and Spares. By the way, people, we're just having fun, right? So everybody keep it cool. You're going to be all right. I just wanted to show off this fantastic game. What a beautiful game. What a great Backglass. Look at this thing. This is about as good as it gets for 1978, people. Look at the earrings. Amazing.